You ever wonder why it's just so hard to stick with new habits? Well, today we're cracking open James Clear's incredible book, Atomic Habits. We're going to find out the secrets behind making these tiny, tiny changes that lead to, well, remarkable, life-altering results. This quote, it was famously hanging in the San Antonio Spurs locker room, and man, it just gets right to the heart of what Atomic Habits is all about. See, it's not about that one single heroic effort. Nope. It's about the incredible power of just showing up day after day and letting those small, consistent actions build on each other.
So, okay, how small are we really talking here? We're about to get into the math behind these little 1% gains, and let me tell you, the results, they're absolutely staggering.
All right, forget about trying to make these huge, earth-shattering changes overnight. James Clear's core idea is just so simple, it's brilliant. Just get 1% better. Every single day. I mean, think about that. It's a change so small you probably wouldn't even notice it.
But, and this is where the real magic happens, that little 1% improvement, it doesn't just add up. It compounds. So over a year, you don't just get, 365% better. No way. You become 37 times better. That's the unbelievable power of these tiny, consistent gains. And listen, this isn't just some theory. The British cycling team, they actually took this idea and ran with it. Or, well, cycled with it. This was a team that was, frankly, mediocre 3 years. But then they started focusing on these tiny 1% improvements in everything. We're talking redesigned bike seats, better massage gels, you name it. And the result? They became an absolute powerhouse, winning 66 Olympic golds and 5 Tour de France titles. Just incredible. Clear has this fantastic analogy for this. He says it's like an airplane shifting its course by just a few degrees. I mean, right at takeoff, that change is barely noticeable, right? But after thousands of miles, that plane lands in a completely different city. And that's exactly how your daily habits work. They are steering the course of your entire life. Okay, so if these small changes are so incredibly powerful, why is it so darn hard to stick with them? You know the feeling. Well, the book argues it's because we've been focusing on the completely wrong thing. See, most of us, we set these outcome-based goals, right? Like, I want to write a book. But Clear says there's a much more powerful way to think about it, identity-based goals. The goal isn't to write a book, it's to become a writer. It's not about running a marathon, it's about becoming a runner. That fundamental shift from what you want to do to who you want to be, that is the absolute secret to making habits stick for good.
All right, so let's get into the nitty-gritty. We're going to dive into this simple 4-step loop in our brain that drives every single one of our habits, the good, the bad, all of them. Honestly, understanding this is like getting the user manual for your own brain. It's a game changer. So every single habit you have follows this exact same pattern. It starts with a cue, that's the trigger. Then comes the craving, that's the motivation, right? Followed by the response, the actual action. And finally, the reward, that satisfying little something that tells your brain, hey, that was good, let's do that again. Let's make this super real. Think about your phone buzzing. That buzz, that's the cue. That immediate urge to know what the message says, that's the craving. You grabbing your phone and reading it is the response. And satisfying that little itch of curiosity, boom, that's the reward. And just like that, your brain learns to connect that buzz with a little hit of satisfaction. This loop is running all day, every day, usually without us even noticing. But now, here's the best part. This is the real game changer. We can actually engineer this loop. We can hijack it. We can use it to build good habits and finally break those bad ones. And we do it with 4 simple, incredibly powerful laws of behavior change. Okay, law number 1. Make it obvious. This one is all about the cue. It's so simple. You want to practice guitar more? Don't hide it in the closet. Put it on a stand right in the middle of your living room. The whole idea is to design your environment so the cues for the habits you want are just impossible to miss. And a super effective way to do this is a technique called habit stacking. You don't need to invent some brand new trigger out of thin air. You just piggyback the new habit onto one you already have. So your current automatic habit becomes the cue for the new one. It's brilliant. Next up, law number 2. Make it attractive. This one targets the craving. Look, our brains are basically reward-seeking machines. The more appealing something seems, the more we're going to want to do it. So the goal here is simple. Make your new habit totally irresistible.
And a fantastic way to pull this off is with something called temptation bundling. You just pair something you want to do with something you need to do. So, for example, you only let yourself listen to your favorite podcast when you're exercising. Or maybe you only get to watch that new Netflix show while you're folding laundry. See, you're linking the chore with the treat, and suddenly it's way more attractive.
Okay, law number 3, make it easy. This one's all about the response, and it really just comes down to human nature, right? We are wired to take the path of least resistance. So the less friction, the less effort between you and your habit, the more likely you are to actually do it. Simple as that.
There's this great story about the famous choreographer Twyla Tharp. She says her whole success came down to one simple ritual. She didn't focus on the grueling 2-hour workout ahead of her. Nope. She just focused on the one super easy part she knew she could always do: walking outside and hailing a cab to go to the gym. Once that was done, everything else just fell into place.
And that really gets to the heart of the 2-minute rule. The idea is you scale down any new habit so it takes less than 2 minutes to get started. You want to read more? Don't think about the whole book. Just read 1 page. Want to become a runner? Don't worry about the 5K. Just focus on putting on your running shoes. It's all about mastering the art of just showing up. And that brings us to the final law. Number 4, make it satisfying. This is all about the reward. For a habit to really stick, our brain needs an immediate signal that what we just did was worthwhile. The golden rule here is so simple. What gets immediately rewarded gets repeated. A really cool, super low-tech way to do this is called the paperclip strategy. It's so simple. You make 1 sales call, you move a paperclip from one jar to another. You write 1 paragraph, you move a paperclip. It gives you this immediate, tangible, and honestly, incredibly satisfying visual that you're making progress. So, what's the big takeaway from all of this? Look, you don't need some massive, heroic effort to completely change your life. You just need to start. Start with one single, tiny, atomic habit. And really, that's the genius behind the title, Atomic Habits. Atomic means something incredibly small, right? A fundamental building block. But it also means a source of immense power. And that's exactly what these habits are. They're tiny changes that unleash absolutely incredible results. So I'm going to leave you with this one question to think about. What is the one single 2-minute action you can take today that casts a vote for the person you want to become? Just one small thing. Find that, and you've found your first atomic habit.